Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. You might notice I have a face cam, so that's pretty cool. I was able to set that up not too long ago. But yeah, I think we're good to go. So today I'm going to be doing something similar to what I've already been doing with YouTube Shorts. I'm going to just be doing a daily recap of everything important that happened today. Just kind of laying out my thoughts on the market overall and any important events that happened today. I'm going to cover it here. Sorry if the camera quality is a little off today. I'm gonna try and get that fixed up as soon as I can. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully I can post this every single day. And yeah, have fun. So as you can see here, I have the stock screener for the day. If you want to view this yourself, go to finviz.com. Very useful website. You could just kind of get a sense of where the market's heading every day. And today, I mean, most sectors are pretty green, apart from just a couple stocks, namely the Mag 7. Now, the Mag 7 have not been doing well at all this year compared to other stocks. I mean, if we just select the year to date performance right here, you'll see that Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, and Tesla are all down. Tesla's down significantly, but we'll get into that a bit later. Meta's the only one that's green, but I mean, it's it's barely green. Let's be honest. 3%. That's not really a lot. And it was up 20% at one point, after which it got sold off pretty bad. But yeah. So back to the daily chart. We can see Nvidia getting sold off. Meanwhile, other tech stocks like AMD was up 3%. Intel was up 6%. It was up like 9% at one point. Like all these names are just green. Which is really interesting actually, because in 2024, Mag 7s were kind of dominating the whole market. I have this Nvidia chart right here. I mean, you could see here, like at the start of 2024, Nvidia pretty much doubled in the first 3 months, which is absolutely crazy. And a lot of Mag 7 stocks did something similar. Actually, there's a Mag 7 ETF, and we just look at its performance in early 2024. Yeah, it went up a ton. It went up 20% in 3 months. So yeah, that just shows to you how impressive the Mag 7s have been, resilient they've been the whole year throughout 2024. Now this year they're finally taking a hit. Now, what could be causing this? Well, I think the Mag 7s have just become such a big part of the S&P 500 that I think it's pretty normal for them to be getting sold off here. And we see money rotating into stuff like Intel and Micron and Uber. These are all stocks that have been pretty heavily sold off just not too long ago, and while the Mag 7 have pumped really hard. So I think this is completely normal. And I mean, Nvidia down only 11%, that's really not that much in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it was a lot worse like a couple days ago. Recovered quite nicely, but yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting that Nvidia was red while AMD and Intel were both green. Because if you know anything about AMD and Intel, they have not done well in the past year. You can see AMD down 46%, Intel down 40%, while Nvidia is up 30%. I mean, if I pulled this up like just a couple months ago, this would have said 100% for Nvidia. Um, but today we actually saw rotation outside of Nvidia for once. Really interesting. Okay, now here's another website that I use pretty often. It's right there, stockanalysis.com. Basically just shows you which companies perform the best and worst each day. And today, I mean, I don't really follow most of these companies, but yeah, Intel was up there. Intel was the second best performer today. Um, as for the losers, okay, we have Tesla. Let's talk about Tesla a little bit. So Tesla is down. Let Let me pull it up. It's down 40% in 3 months, which is a very dramatic move. That's like, I think that's like $400 billion of market cap, which is pretty crazy. Now, it's interesting this is happening because obviously, uh, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has a really close relationship with current administration, specifically President Trump. Um, and like you would think that everything's going great, but in reality, there's like a lot of concerns that Musk isn't really focused on Tesla right now, and instead he's more focused on stuff in the government like Doge and whatever. And because of that, people are actually selling off Tesla. Now, my thoughts on this, I think Tesla is really overvalued. Like right here when it pumps to like 400 something after the election. I mean, it was getting really expensive. I think it's fine we got a bit of a sell off. Now, I don't know like if a 50% sell off is necessary. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Yeah, the indices were actually really green for the day. S&P was up 0.6%, Nasdaq was up 0.3%, and Dow was up 0.8%, which is following a 2% move up on the S&P on Friday, meaning we recovered some of those gains that we saw, or some of those losses. I mean, as you can see here, we had a whole 10% correction right here, and since then we're up around 3%, slightly below that. Um, and the reason for that is probably just because Trump's not tweeting about tariffs, so I'm going to the moon. Okay, but on a real note though, like the only reason we sold off, there hasn't been any fundamental change to like earnings growth or anything, or you know like any macro data. Like the macro was fine. We got inflation data a week or two ago, and it was honestly not that bad. I think it was CPI that came in at 2.8 versus 2.9 expected, which is actually a really good result, and we ended up rallying on that. I think that was on Wednesday, a week ago or something. So the only reason we're going down is because of fear. It's just people are panic selling, fear and greed is at a very low level. Here, I just pulled it up. We're actually still in extreme fear. As you can see, 1 week ago we were at 14, so we were like really getting down there. Now we bounced back a little bit. Soon we might get into this fear area, which I wouldn't be too surprised if we got into. But I mean, any Trump tweet about tariffs and, might become a problem. And we could potentially see more pain. Because we're only down 3% year to date. Like in 2022, I don't know if any of you guys invested back then. Well, I didn't, but I've heard a lot of stories. The S&P, as you can see, was down. Well, at first, it was down 11%, and then kind of recovered. It bounced back a little bit. And then obviously, over the next couple months, it ended up down 23% year to date. So, assuming we got another 2022, we could definitely see more pain, but do I think that'll happen? Not necessarily. It doesn't have to. I think it depends a lot on the Fed, but it kind of depends on what the Trump administration is going to do. Because obviously, if they lead us into a recession, that would be really bad for stocks. Pretty self explanatory. But if they kind of go through with their promises and tariffs end up not being that big of a deal, I feel like that would be actually pretty bullish for stocks. We could probably rally back to 6,000 on the S&P. And yeah, this 10% correction would be maximum pain, at least in the near term. Okay, now I do just want to switch to the 1 month chart on this, just to show like how painful it's really been last month. I mean, especially pay attention to like this tech sector kind of area. Like all these names are down a ton. You have great companies like Nvidia or like a Palantir or Amazon, they're all down a ton from their all-time highs, and it's really it's really all because of the fear. There's really no fundamentals to this. It's just like algos selling them off because the rest of the market is selling off. So I think you're getting a great opportunity with some of these companies. I personally did buy the dip on a couple names. Like I bought some Nvidia not too long ago, and I bought some Dell right there, down 11% in a month. Now I wouldn't go like all in right now because again, like I said, there could be more pain to come. Really nobody knows, but I do think that it's a good time to put some capital into the market if you've kind of been waiting for good entry points because we're getting a lot of discounts across the board and you really don't want to miss out. That's probably going to do for me. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more content like this, then feel free to subscribe. And tune back tomorrow because I'm going to make another one of these and I'm going to try to post daily. See if I can pull it off. See you in the next one.